What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Friday, September 6th. Stick around until the end of the video for a pick on the Packers-Eagles game for Friday night. Thursday, guys, went pretty well in terms of the MLB slate. Guys, we had Houston versus Cincinnati. We had under 9 in that one. It was a 1-0 shutout. Brown and Lauder were both lights out in that game, so very easy cash just to start the day off there. We also had the Twins minus 135. That was a close one, a 4-3 win there for the Twins. Lopez was fine. Minnesota's bullpen was good, and Twins hit a couple of home runs there. Definitely helped put us over the top. We'll take another win there. We did take kind of a tough loss there on the under in that Philly-Miami game. It was an over-under of 8, ended up in a 5-2 win there for the Phillies. Suarez was lights out for the first time in quite a while, so maybe he's getting back on track there. So a tough loss for us, but we finished the day off with a solid win. We had the under in that Angels-Texas Rangers game. It was under 8.5. It was a 3-1 win there for the Rangers. Both starters were very good in that game, or at least pretty good, and neither team can really hit. So another fairly easy win there. 3-1 on the day. We'll definitely take that. In terms of the NFL game, guys, it did not go exactly the way we were thinking, but it was pretty close. We had under 47 in that one, and it ended up as a push. Not exactly the dream there, that late touchdown getting disallowed there because that guy's toe was just barely on the line. Saved us, gave us the under on that push, so we'll take it, but not exactly what we were hoping. We were hoping for a win there, but regardless, guys, on to the next here. Let's get into it with a full MLB slate and an NFL game out there for dessert. Before we jump into the games, hit that like button. It helps me out and the channel a ton, and I really appreciate it. If you're new around here or haven't already, subscribe to the channel for free to get notifications of our daily uploads. You can now sign up for a channel membership. Channel members will get exclusive early access to all of the NFL and college football videos, and if you have any other ideas for members perks, please let me know down in the comments. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering Major League Baseball, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into the first game of the day. We've got the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Chicago Cubs. The Yankees come to this one fresh off of another loss. They lost 2 out of 3 there at the Texas Rangers. Things are getting pretty dark there for the Yankees. The starting pitching's really been a problem. They're hitting the ball to Luis Gil, hoping that he can right the ship. He's 12-6 this year with a 3.39 ERA. His last start was not a good one, guys. He only lasted 3 innings against the Cleveland Guardians back on the 20th. 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and a home run. He walked 6 in that game, so definitely very concerned about what we're going to see from Gil in this one. Also starting to get a little bit worried about that Yankees bullpen. They continue to show signs of problems, down to a 3.89 bullpen ERA. Not anywhere close to where this team was looking like out of the bullpen early in the season, and the offense has also been a little bit problematic recently. Not a huge downturn, but yeah, 6, 4, 8, 7, and 5 runs over the last few games. Yeah, just not the kind of numbers we were used to this team putting up there for a while. They're still the second highest scoring team in the majors. They're second in on-base percentage, second in slugging percentage. Like, this is a great offense still, but right now, guys, we're a little bit worried about them, even going up against the Cubs, who come into this game fresh off of a 12-0 combined no-hitter win against the Pirates. At 72-68 on the year, the Cubs are still 9 games back of Milwaukee in the NL Central. They're going to be hitting the ball to Jordan Wicks in this game. He's 2-2 on the season with a 3.82 ERA. He has been in and out of the bullpen. His last outing was a start at the Nationals. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run. So very good stuff there. Taking on a team like the Yankees is a little bit different, but this is kind of a young guy at 25 years old. He's looked solid out there. I got to give him some credit, but I'm a little bit worried about him in this spot. In terms of the Cubs bullpen, it's been very good down the stretch here. A 3.80 bullpen ERA, definitely workable there. The offense has really come alive here late in the season, guys. 12, 0, 3, 14, 5, 7, and 14 runs over the last few games has been nice. Let's keep in mind they're playing 2 series against the Pirates and 1 series against the Nationals over that spread, though. So, not exactly the toughest opposition there. The Cubs are 12th in the majors in runs scored, 12th in on-base percentage, 17th in batting average. Not a team that I'm terrified of out there at the plate, but we'll see what they can do in this one. And looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Yankees at minus 142, the Cubs at plus 125. We've got an over-under of 7 in this game. The Yankees are 43-29 on the road. That's an MLB best road mark. The Cubs are 37-31 31 at home, so not a bad home team. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under, with the Yankees being 39, 30, and 3 to the over on the road, and the Cubs being 36, 31, and 1 to the under at home. In terms of a side in this game, guys, I'm not enthused about the Yankees right now, so go ahead and give me the Cubs at plus 125 as a small lean, but I think the better value in this game is just taking that over 7. We can see either one of these starters have a terrible day. I don't care if the wind's blowing in this one. I'm not sure right now if we know whether or not it is, but generally speaking, 7 runs, way too low here. Either one of these teams, with the way they're swinging the bats right now, is capable of getting over that number all by themselves, so give me over 7 in this one. Next up, we're looking at the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Rockies come to this game fresh off of a 3-1 win at Atlanta in Game 3 of that series. They're going to be hitting the ball to Ryan Feltner in this one. He's 1-10 on the season with a 5.11 ERA. His last start, he got shelled by the Baltimore Orioles, so that's not ideal, but he has had some pretty decent outings prior to this. I would say 4 out of his last 5 starts have been very, very decent, so we'll see what he can do. I'm not necessarily expecting miracles, but I don't think he's going to be horrible out there. In terms of their bullpen, that's the real pitching concern for the Rockies, guys. Worst bullpen in Major League Baseball, a 5.50 bullpen ERA. Laughably bad at this point, and the offense, while it's done some positive things this season, has not been swinging the hottest bats lately, scoring 3, 2, 0, 1, and 7 games over their last few. They're down to 19th in the majors in runs scored, 23rd in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is just not a great offensive team. Any of the real decent offensive numbers they have are just a function of them getting to play half of their games at Coors Field. So, not loving the way the Rockies are looking right now. They're going up against the Brewers, who are not playing their best ball either. They've actually lost 3 out of their last 4 to fall to 81-59 on the year. They're still 9 games up in the NL Central, so I don't think there's a ton of reason to panic. They're handing the ball to Frankie Montas. He's 6-9 this year with a 4.70 ERA. His last start at the Reds, not a great one. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs allowed. He's allowed a total of 8 earned runs over his last 12 innings pitched, so just not amazing stuff. He did have a great start at the Cardinals. We'll see what he can do here going up against the Rockies. Obviously not the toughest opponent. He did get shelled by them back in July, though, so that's a bit of a concern. The Brewers bullpen, though, has been great this season, guys. A 2.80 ERA coming out of the pen has them second in the majors right now, and the offense, maybe a little bit of a hiccup here. I mean, they haven't been as good down the stretch as they were early in the season. They scored 2, 4, 9, 3, and 5 runs over their last few games. They're still 5th in the majors in runs scored and 4th in the majors in on-base percentage, so not exactly setting off alarm bells right now. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Rockies at plus 195, the Brewers at minus 215. We've got an over-under of 8. Colorado is 20-52 on the road. Milwaukee is 41-27 at home. We've got both teams actually showing trends towards the over here, and I think you should definitely be taking a look at this over. I'm not that interested in the side. The prices are way too expensive, and I don't have that much trust in either team in this specific situation, but I do think over 8 is extremely live, with Colorado being 37, 32, and 3 to the over on the road, and Milwaukee being a very solid 38, 23, and 7 to the over at home. So yeah, over 8, guys, definitely has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Nationals come into this game fresh off of another loss. They lost game 1 of this series 9-4. They're going to be giving the ball to DJ Hers in this one, hoping he can stem the tide. He's 2-7 this year with a 4.09 ERA. His last start was a pretty short one against the Cubs. He gave up 4 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings, so not great there. He has been decent here this season, generally speaking. He's 23 years old, so you expect some ups and downs. We'll see what we get out of him in this one. I'm not really expecting miracles necessarily, and I'm never going to be expecting miracles out of that Washington Nationals bullpen, guys. They're bottom 10 in the majors now with a 4.14 bullpen ERA. Definitely a lot worse than they were looking earlier in the season, and the offense isn't having a great time either right now, guys. They've scored 4, 3, 6, 1, and 3 runs over their last few. Yeah, I mean, Luis Garcia Jr.'s done some positive things. We've seen CJ Abrams have some moments this season, but overall, there's a reason this team is 23rd in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in slugging percentage. So, looking at their opponent in this game, we'll see what they can do against the Pirates, who come into this one winners of 3 out of their last 4. They're 66 and 74 on the year, though, so yeah, last place in the NL Central. They're going to be giving the ball to Luis Ortiz. He comes into this game fresh off of an excellent start, back-to-back excellent starts, guys, at Cleveland. 6 innings, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, no runs allowed, and start before that was at home against Cincinnati Reds. 6 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts in that one, so absolutely excellent stuff coming out of Ortiz right now. He's looking good out there, no doubt about that. How will he look here against the Nationals? I am not 100% sure, guys, but I've got pretty high expectations. Like, the dude has been throwing the ball great ever since, getting moved over out of the bullpen. That being said, we do have to keep an eye on that Pirates bullpen. They are one of the worst in the majors with a 4.62 bullpen ERA, so that's very, very concerning, and they don't really have the kind of offense to handle that kind of a terrible bullpen, at least usually. I mean, they did score 9 runs in game 1 of the series. They've scored 9, 0, 5, and 5 over the last few, which honestly not bad production for a team like the Pirates, who is 21st in the majors in runs scored and 23rd in batting average. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Nationals at plus 110, the Pirates at minus 120. We've got an over-under of 8 in this one. Washington's only 30 and 41 on the road, so not a very good road team. The Pirates are 33 and 36 at home. In general, in this game, guys, I'm definitely leaning towards the Pirates as the side. Taking them at minus 120 seems pretty appealing. I'm expecting very good stuff from Luis Ortiz, and we do notice that the Pirates are 2-0 over his last 2 starts, so that's pretty nice. Generally, on the over-under here, guys, I'm not very interested in the over-under at all, so yeah, not even really got a good lean to give you on that one. I do like the Pirates in this spot. I think they win this game a good amount of the time. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to stumpthespread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the games. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. The Rays come into this game fresh off of an interesting series there against Minnesota. They split the series 2 games apiece, but Tampa Bay not headed anywhere important this season, it doesn't look like. They're giving the ball to Shane Baz in this game. He's 2-2 this season with a 3.49 ERA. His last start was a good one against the San Diego Padres. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 hits and 2 earned runs in that one. He did give up a home run, but it was a very, very solid start in a game we saw the Rays win 11-4. His start before that was dominant against the Oakland A's. Start before that was very good against Houston. This young guy throwing the ball very well over his last 3 starts. In terms of their bullpen, we've seen Tampa Bay be pretty decent this year, or at least down the stretch here, easily in the top 10 with a 3.78 bullpen ERA. So very, very reasonable stuff there. Expect good things from the Tampa Bay bullpen. We don't usually expect good stuff from this offense, guys. They've scored 3, 9, 2, 4, and 3 runs over their last few games, and that seems pretty standard for a team that's 28th in the majors in runs scored and 28th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're only batting .231 as a team. This just isn't a very good offense, guys. So we'll see what they can do here against the good offense of the Baltimore Orioles, who just won 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. They did lose the last game of that series 8-1. Pretty embarrassing to lose any games to the White Sox at this point, but at 81-60 on the year, they are in first place in the AL East, a half game up on the Yankees. The Orioles are going to be handing the ball to Dean Kremer in this one. He's 6-9 this season with a 4.51 ERA. Hasn't been having a great time. Recently, he got rocked by the Colorado Rockies in his last start. His start before that, he gave up a lot of hits and 3 earned runs in a loss to the Houston Astros, so just not somebody that I'm very excited about out on the mound, and we're really not feeling it with the Orioles bullpen either. A 3.98 ERA coming out of the pen has them below average in the majors. Just not a lot of great things to say about this pitching staff, and the offense, while it was able to carry the pitching staff earlier in the year, that was when the pitching staff was looking good. That hasn't really been the case recently, guys. They've scored 1, 9, 13, 6, and 5 runs over their last few games. Congratulations on putting up some numbers against the White Sox. Now it's time to face an actual opponent. They're still 3rd in the majors in runs scored and 1st in slugging percentage, but all of these numbers, guys, all their offensive numbers, not looking nearly as good as they were earlier in the season, and they're all trending down. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Rays at plus 115, the Orioles at minus 130. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Tampa Bay is 32-33 on the road, so not a terrible road team. Baltimore is 41-31 at home, a number that's been getting slightly worse here as the season has gone on. We've got the over-under in this game is 8.5. Tampa Bay's plus 115. The Orioles are minus 130. Guys, in terms of a side in this one, I like Tampa Bay at plus 115 a good amount. Baz has been throwing the ball great out there recently. The Orioles, they're coming off of a series against the White Sox. They are in a bounce-back spot after that loss, so maybe approach this game with a little bit of caution, but I'm definitely on the Rays in terms of the side. In terms of the over-under here, we've got very mixed trends. Baltimore is a huge over team at home. Tampa Bay is an under team on the road. Over under of 8.5, not really too interested in that. Maybe take a slight lean towards the over, but I like the Rays in this spot a good amount. Speaking of the White Sox, guys, they're in our next game. We've got the White Sox going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. Chicago comes into this game fresh off of that crazy 8-1 win there at Baltimore, but at 32-109 on the season, they're setting all kinds of records for being absolutely terrible. They're handing the ball to Davis Martin, who's 0-3 on the year with a 3.62 ERA. His last start was not his best effort against the Mets back on the 31st. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs, but generally speaking, he's been throwing the ball pretty well. We'll see how he can hold up here against a team like the Red Sox, not a team that he's faced yet this season, so we'll see what he can do out there. I'm expecting decent stuff from him. I don't think he's a terrible starter. However, that White Sox bullpen is an absolute disaster, guys. Second worst in the majors with a 5.01 bullpen ERA, so that's pretty embarrassing. In terms of the offense, they're coming off a game they scored 8 runs, but they scored 8, 0, 3, 0, 3, and 1. This is the worst offense in Major League Baseball. It's not particularly close. Not going to waste a lot of time talking about that. They're taking on the Boston Red Sox in this game, who are on a 5-game losing streak now. They're down to 70-70 on the year. They're hitting the ball to Nick Pivetta, who's 5-10 this season with a 4.53 ERA. His last start was a decent one at the Tigers. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. He struck out 6 in that game, but is a game we eventually saw Boston take the loss in. So yeah, all that positive effort from him completely wasted. The Red Sox not having a great time here down the stretch, especially on offense, where they've scored 3, 2, 1, 1, and 1 runs over the last few games. That's in series against the Mets and the Detroit Tigers. Just isn't a team that's hitting the ball very well right now. Boston was supposed to be a top 5 or 6 offense, something like that, and that's not the case right now. They're down to 11th in the majors in runs scored. All their major counting stats are trending down right now. Definitely a team, I don't want to say they're in a free fall, but 5 losses in a row, not looking so great. So we'll see what they can do here against the worst team in baseball. The White Sox are plus 225 in this game. The Red Sox are minus 267. We got an over-under of 9 in this one. The White Sox are 14-55 on the road, the MLB worst road team. No shock there. Boston's actually a pretty bad home team. They're 31-38 when playing at Fenway this season, so that's not a great look. Not a lot of trends to look at here for the over-under either, guys. To be honest, this is not a game that I'm very interested in. The Red Sox have been so bad lately. I mean, maybe this is a bounce back spot for them, but I'm not taking the White Sox here either, so pretty much a stay away spot for me. If you're begging me for a pick on this game, I guess give me the Red Sox minus 1.5 in a bounce back spot, but this is not a game I like. Next up, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the New York Mets. The Reds come into this game fresh off of a 4th straight win. They swept the Houston Astros there, playing at home at the Great American Ballpark. At 68-73 on the year, though, they're not exactly headed anywhere important. We don't have a confirmed starter for the Reds yet at the moment. They haven't had the best starting pitching, generally speaking, this season. If this ends up being a bullpen start for the Reds, they've had their ups and downs in the bullpen this year, but generally pretty solid. Currently sitting with a 3.88 bullpen ERA, so not the best numbers we've seen from them this year, but if it's a bullpen start, I think they could be all right. Their offense maybe been a little bit better. I mean, they've scored 1, 12, 5, 4, and 4 runs over their last few games. They're 15th in the majors in runs scored, but 24th in batting average, 19th in on base percentage. Like, this just isn't an offense that I'm in love with. So we'll see what they can do here against the Mets, who are killing it right now. They've now won 7 straight games. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Sean Manaea. He's 11-5 this year with a 3.35 ERA. His last start was against the White Sox, so obviously, you know, not the toughest opponent, but 7 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, no runs allowed. So very, very good stuff. The Mets are 4-0 over his last 4 starts. He is throwing the ball really, really well. So we'll see what he can do out there. I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting decent things from the Mets bullpen, which is a big improvement over the course of the season to get to a 3.93 bullpen ERA, but I wouldn't consider them necessarily a lights out bullpen, but I think they're fine. I think they're definitely usable out there. In terms of the offense, the Mets are cruising along. They've scored 8, 7, 4, 2, 5, and 5 runs over their last few games. They're up to 8th in the majors in runs scored, 12th in the majors in batting average. We see Martinez coming back off of the paternity list, so that's good news for the offense. And yeah, generally speaking, loving what we're seeing from the Mets right now. And look at the numbers for this game. We've got the Reds at plus 138, the Mets at minus 160. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Reds are 32-34 on the road. The Mets are a very solid 38-32 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the over in this spot, but not big trends. And without more information about who the Reds are actually going to be starting, whether or not this is going to be a bullpen start, this is kind of a wait-and-see situation. I do think the Mets are likely to win win this game with Manaea on the mound. And if we end up with a good pitching situation for the Reds, maybe the under could be in play. But right now, my only lean on this one is the Mets -160. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. The Phillies are playing well right now, winners of their last 5 in a row. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Zach Wheeler, who's 13-6 this year with a 2.63 ERA. His last start, he was lights out against the Atlanta Braves. 7 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. So very, very good stuff. The Phillies, they've been doing well in his starts, or at least he has. The offense has been a bit up and down for the Phillies recently, but expecting great stuff from Zach Wheeler pretty much all the time. The Phillies bullpen is another story, though. A 3.93 bullpen ERA is better than they've been, recently here, but I just don't really trust this bullpen, guys, and I'm sure all the Phillies fans feel the same way. In terms of their offense, they scored 5 runs yesterday, which is a little bit disappointing since we had the over in that game. It got close, but didn't quite hit. They've scored 5, 4, 10, 3, and 3 runs over their last few, so not swinging the hottest bats. We see Hayes going on the aisle with a kidney infection, which is a little bit weird, but weird stuff can happen over the course of such a long season. The Phillies are 6th in the majors in runs scored, 4th in the majors in batting average, batting .258 as a team, but those numbers maybe not holding up exactly here down the stretch. So we'll see what they can do against the Marlins, who come into this game fresh off a 5-2 loss. They have actually won 3 out of their last 5 games, but at 52-88 on the year, obviously they don't have a lot to play for. They're hitting the ball to Edward Cabrera, who is 3-6 this season with a 5.33 ERA. His last start was a very good one at the Giants. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, only a single earned run in that game, and we saw the Marlins get the 4-3 win. So he looked pretty solid in that one. Unfortunately, the last time he faced the Phillies was back on the 14th of last month. He went 4 innings, gave up 6 earned runs on 6 hits, gave up a home run in that one. Seems like this might be a bit of a tough spot for him. So looking at the Miami bullpen, it hasn't been amazing here down the stretch at all either, guys. They're way down in the bottom third of the majors with a 4.10 bullpen ERA, so that's not great, and it's not like the offense is killing it right now either, guys. I mean, 2, 4, 2, 7, and 4 runs over their last few. 29th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors on base percentage. We really don't need to dig too much deeper than that. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Phillies at -225, the Marlins at +205. We've got an over-under in this game of 7.5, so a pretty low number, but given who we've got on the mound there for the Phillies, that makes a lot of sense to me. If you wanted to take a look at the Phillies -1.5 in this spot, that would make some sense, but kind of one of the better prices I'm seeing out there is like -130 if you take a -1.5, so that's a little bit rich. I mean, the Phillies are 36-31 on the road, and Miami is 26-46 at home, so not necessarily expecting them to put up a great fight. We also see both teams showing trends towards the over, with Miami being 48-20-4 to the over at home, so I guess we should be taking that into consideration a little bit, maybe the over 7.5, but I think if you take that, you're really just begging the Phillies to score all the runs in this game, but it's not impossible. Go ahead and give me the Phillies here at -1.5. I think that's the better play in this game, but if you wanted to take the over, I guess I couldn't fault you too much. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Atlanta Braves. The Blue Jays come into this game losers of their last 3 in a row. They're going to be handing the ball to Kevin Gausman in this game, who's 12-10 this season with a 4.07 ERA. His last start was at the Twins, where he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs in a game we eventually saw the Blue Jays lose 2-0. So has to be a little bit frustrating to put a good start out there and get absolutely 0 run support, but you got to be used to that at times this year when pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. Can't have been too much fun out there for him. In general, how do we feel about the Blue Jays bullpen? Well, they're 3rd worst in the major leagues, guys, with a 4.80 bullpen ERA, so that is pretty depressing stuff. Not a bullpen that you can trust at all. In terms of the offense, it's had some ups this season, but it's also had a lot of downs. I mean, they've scored 2, 9, 3, 15, 0, and 2 runs over their last few games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has really come on here in the second half of the season. He's up to batting .328 with 28 home runs, so that's nice, but it would have been nice to see that earlier in the season, maybe keep this team a little bit in the race out there in the AL East. They're still only 17th in the majors in runs scored and 18th in the majors in slugging percentage, so we'll see what they can do here. They're taking on the Atlanta Braves, who come into this game fresh off of a 3-1 loss against the Colorado Rockies, so that can't feel great. They're going to be handing the ball to Max Fried, who's 8-8 this season with a 3.52 ERA. His last start was a very playable one at the Phillies. 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. He did give up 2 home runs in that game, but you take away one of those mistakes and maybe things could have worked out a little bit better, but against a hard-hitting Phillies team, I'm going to give the guy some credit. We'll see what he can do here against the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously not the toughest hitting team out there, but they've been a little bit better here down the stretch, so we'll see what he can do. The Atlanta bullpen, I'm very high on, guys. They are 3rd in the majors with a 3.27 bullpen ERA. That's excellent. No reason to be worried about this bullpen. You hand them a lead, they're usually going to hold on to it. The offense is a concern here, though, guys. They've scored 1, 5, 3, 2, and 0 runs over the last few games. They're down to 17th in the majors in runs scored. They're only batting .241 as a team. Their on-base percentage is .306. That is 21st in the majors. So, yeah, not an offense that I really trust here at all, guys. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Blue Jays at plus 152. That's a pretty appealing price. We've got the Braves at minus 178. That seems very expensive. We've got over-unders out there of 7.5 or 8. Toronto is 33 and 39 on the road. Atlanta is 38 and 29 at home, so a very good home team. In terms of the over-under here, guys, we've got some very interesting trends. Toronto is actually an under team on the road, going 36, 34, and 2 to the under on the road. Atlanta, guys, they are the biggest under team at home in the major leagues this season, going 45, 21, and 1 to the under when playing at home. That's an MLB best to the under at home. Guys, in this game, I'm not that interested in the side. If you're forcing me to bet it, I maybe like the Blue Jays at that plus 152 price, but my real lean in this game is that under 8. I think we're going to see offense at an absolute premium in this one. I'm expecting good stuff from Fried. I'm expecting good stuff from Gausman. I am worried about that Toronto bullpen, but they're going up against the ice-cold Atlanta Braves bats, so give me the under in this game. I think it's some very reasonable value. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. The Angels come into this game fresh off a 3-1 loss in game 1 of this series at 58 and 82 on the year. Not exactly headed anywhere important. They're going to be hitting the ball to young Samuel Aldeguerri. He comes into this one only 22 years old. This is going to be his second outing in the major leagues. His MLB debut did not go great. He got knocked around very, very aggressively by the Seattle Mariners. 5 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs. 2 of them were earned. He gave up a home run in that one. Just not great stuff out there from him. Definitely see a chance that he could bounce back here. We'll see what we get from him. We'll see what we get from that Angels bullpen, a 4.05 bullpen ERA. Not a pen that's been great this season. They've been slightly better here down the stretch, though. In terms of their offense, they've scored 1, 10, 2, 3, and 5 runs over their last few games. Not a great offensive team, guys. 27th in the majors in runs scored, 28th in the majors, batting .230 as a team. Just not really expecting a lot of positives from the Angels right now as they take on the Texas Rangers here, who have somehow won 5 out of their last 6 games to get to 68 and 73 on the year. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Gerson Garabito. He comes into this game going to be making the start. He's normally a bullpen guy, and his bullpen work has been very good. Recently had a 4 innings of shutout work against the Twins not too long ago. Had a decent outing against the Yankees. This has been a guy that's been very, very good out of the bullpen. That has not been the case for the rest of the Rangers bullpen, which is sporting a 4.49 bullpen ERA. That being said, I do think this young guy, well, fairly young guy, could go out there and put up a fairly long start. So we'll see what we get from him. We'll see what we get from the rest of the Rangers bullpen. Not holding my breath for them to find a lot of success. In terms of their offense, the Rangers have been better recently. 3, 10, 7, 4, 6, and 3 runs over the last few games. 20th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in the majors in batting average. This is not necessarily an offense that I'm in love with, guys. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Angels at plus 145, the Rangers at minus 170. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. The Angels are 28 and 40 on the road. The Rangers are actually 39 and 33 at home, so not a bad home team, honestly. In terms of the over-under for this game, a 9 is a pretty big number, and we've got both teams showing trends towards the under in this situation. The Angels are 35, 31, and 2 to the under on the road. The Rangers are 44, 26, and 2 to the under at home. They've been one of the bigger under teams in the majors this season. Guys, I'm not that interested in the side in this one. I am, however, interested in that under on this series once again. I do think we're going to see a bounce-back start from the Angels, young guy out there. I think we could see good stuff from the Rangers. I know this is a bullpen start, but the guy they're putting out there I think is definitely capable of putting up 5 or 6 innings. So give me the under in this one. Do I have enough faith in it to put in the pinned comment? Probably not, but I don't think it's a bad spot. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the Houston Astros. The Diamondbacks come into this game fresh off of a nice series win there at San Francisco. They did lose the last game of that series 3-2, though. They're 79 and 62 on the year, 5.5 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. They're going to be giving the ball to Brandon Pfaadt in this game. He's 9 and 7 this year with a 4.32 ERA. His last start was a little bit, he looked hittable. He gave up 8 hits over 5 2/3 innings, but it was a 14-3 win over the Dodgers, so I doubt he was going full strength with every single pitch. He did have 10 strikeouts in that game, too, so pretty solid stuff. Expecting him to be good here in this matchup, generally speaking. He's been much better down the stretch than he was earlier in the season, so yeah, I think we're going to see good stuff from Pfaadt. What are we going to see from that Arizona Diamondbacks? Bullpen is always a big question mark, guys. A 4.27 bullpen ERA. Absolutely not good. This offense, though, best offense in the major leagues, guys. I'm ready to say it. They're first in runs scored, first in on-base percentage. They're batting .262 as a team. They're fourth in slugging percentage. They've scored 2, 6, 8, 6, 14, 6, and 9 runs over their last few games. Not the best pitching staff, but this offense can absolutely go. We'll see what they can do here against the Astros, who come into this game fresh off of getting swept there at the Great American Ballpark. They could not handle the Cincinnati Reds. They're going to be giving the ball to Framber Valdez in this game, who's 13-6 on the season with a 3.11 ERA. His last start was a great one, guys, an absolute diamond there against the Kansas City Royals. 7 innings, no hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. That was a game we saw the Astros actually try to lose there late. They ended up winning it 3-2, but Framber Valdez was very, very good out there. So we'll see what he can do against a very hard-hitting opponent here in the Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously not the easiest opponent to take on, and he has not faced them yet this season. The Astros bullpen's been pretty good this year, guys, and pretty good down the stretch. Early in the season, they had their issues, but they're down to a 3.49 bullpen ERA, which has them 4th in the majors right now. So very impressive stuff there. The bats, guys, the bats have not been great. They got shut out in their last game. The game before that, they scored a 5, 3, 7, 5, and 3 runs before that. Like, just not an amazing offense this season. It's crazy because they've been one of the best batting average teams in the majors all year long, but just not able to get a lot of runs across the plate. 3rd in batting average, 13th in runs scored. So we'll see what they can do in this one. And yeah, I'm not super high on the Astros in this spot, to be honest. Looking at the numbers, we've got the Diamondbacks at plus 136, the Astros at minus 150. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Arizona is 40-31 on the road, a very reasonable road team. Houston is 39-29 at home, so they've been good at home. Don't get me wrong about it. But yeah, in terms of the over-under here, over-under of 8. Arizona is an over team on the road. The Astros are a pretty big under team at home, so I'm not too interested in the over-under in this game, but I am interested in the Diamondbacks at plus 136. I think there's a decent chance they can get some runs off of Valdez and some runs off of this Houston Astros bullpen, despite it being pretty good. So if we can see some decent stuff from Fott, and if we can see this Astros team continue to swing some cold bats, I do think this is a very reasonable spot to take the Diamondbacks as a decent-sized underdog. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Twins going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The Twins come into this game fresh off of splitting a 4-game series there at Tampa Bay. They are 76-64 on the year, 4 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central. They're going to be giving the ball to Zebby Matthews in this game. He's 1-2 this season with a 7.41 ERA. This young 24-year-old got absolutely shelled his last time out. He got destroyed by the Toronto Blue Jays. His start before that against the Cardinals was much better. Start before that against the Padres was not amazing. He's a young guy. We're going to see a lot of inconsistency, so we'll see what we actually get from him in this game. It's kind of hard to tell in general. What do we expect from the Minnesota bullpen? It has not been great down the stretch, guys. A 4.04 bullpen ERA has them significantly below MLB average, so concerns there as well. And the offense continues to struggle, guys. We see Kepler going to the IL with a knee injury. Like, this offense, 4, 4, 1, 5, and 4 runs over their last few games. That's not what this offense was supposed to be like, guys. They're still top 10 in runs scored and batting average, but these are all counting stats that are headed in a negative direction. So not holding my breath for a big offensive outburst for them here going up against the Royals, who come into this game fresh off of a desperately needed win in Game 3 there against the Cleveland Guardians. They're now 4.5 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central. They're handing the ball in this game to Cole Rangans, who's 10-9 this year with a 3.46 ERA. His last start was not very good at Houston. 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs allowed. He had a good start before that at Cleveland, so we'll give him some credit there. And the last time he faced the Minnesota Twins, he was absolutely lights out. 7 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run allowed in that one. He walked 0 and struck out 8. Seemed like he was very much in a groove in that game. So will he be able to find that groove again here against the Twins? Definitely seems like a possibility, and he'll definitely need to, because you do not want to see that Royals bullpen out there for very long. They're 24th in the majors with a 4.52 ERA coming out of the pen. That's real bad, guys, and the offense is not doing well lately either. They've scored 4, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3 runs over their last several games. Bobby Witt Jr. trying to carry the load here for him, but you can only do so much. We saw Pham hit a home run for the Royals a couple days ago. That was fun, but 8th in the majors in runs scored, 7th in the majors in batting average. These are all numbers that are headed in the wrong direction. So look at the numbers for this game. We've got the Twins at plus 125, the Royals at minus 143. We've got an over-under of 8 out there. Minnesota is 37-34 on the road. The Royals are 42-30 at home. We've got both teams actually showing trends towards the over, but they're not big trends, and I'm not too interested in the over-under of 8 in this game, guys. I'm more interested in just taking the Royals at minus 143. I think we'll see good stuff from Rangans again, and the Twins not really playing their best ball at the moment. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mariners come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 4 there at Oakland. 4.5 games back of Houston in the AL West. They've got some work to do here. They're hitting the ball to Bryce Miller, who's 10-8 this season with a 3.30 ERA. His last start was at the Angels, and it wasn't his best stuff. 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Not what we've come to expect from him. He's been very good this season, generally speaking. That's been his worst start in recent memory, so I'm expecting definitely a bounce back from him here going up against a Cardinals team that's not not the hardest hitting. In terms of their bullpen, Seattle's been fine all season long. Maybe not elite, but definitely fine. A 3.81 bullpen ERA. I see very little wrong with that. The offense is the problem. They've been swinging the hot bats over the last couple games, combining to score 22 runs over the last two, but that's not the norm for a team that is 26th in the majors in runs scored, last in the majors in batting average, and 29th in slugging percentage. So looking at their opponent in this one, the St. Louis Cardinals, they come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 at Milwaukee at 71 and 69 in the year. They've got a lot of work still to do, but they feel like they're still alive. They're handing the ball to Eric Feedy in this game, who's 8-8 on the season with a 3.43 ERA. His last start was at the Yankees. He didn't have a great time. 5 1/3 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits. He gave up a home run in that game. He did strike out 8, so I think he's got to be excited to be getting ready to take on a much less good opponent here in the Seattle Mariners. That being said, the last time he pitched against Seattle was his last start before getting traded, so maybe a little bit of pre-trade deadline angst there, but he didn't have a great time. I'm expecting a better start from him in this one because he had a great start against Seattle back in June where he dominated them over 7 innings. So looking at the Cardinals bullpen here, they've been good down the stretch. They're 6th in the majors right now with a 3.69 bullpen ERA, and the offense has come alive a little bit, scoring 3, 7, 3, 14, and 6 runs over their last few. They're 24th in the majors still, so I'm not super overreacting. They're 24th in runs scored, 13th in batting average, 14th in on-base percentage, so I'm seeing some signs of life here from the Cardinals. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Mariners at plus 100, the Cardinals at minus 108. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this one. Seattle is 30 and 42 on the road. The Cardinals are 35 and 32 at home. Seattle's actually a big over team when playing on the road, and the Cardinals are a slight over team at home. I'm not too interested in over-under of 7.5 given the pitching situation for this game, but I am significantly interested in the Cardinals at minus 108. They've been swinging some hotter bats recently. Feedy's got some good history against Seattle to back him up, and he's been throwing the ball a little bit better here. That questionable start at the Yankees his last time out notwithstanding, so go ahead and give me the Cardinals in this spot. I would say they're very, very live to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Oakland A's. The Tigers come into this game fresh off of a 4-3 win there at San Diego. That was pretty cool. A 2-out grand slam in the 9th inning. That had to be a very good feeling for a Tigers team that's now 1 game above 500. They also had to be pumped to hand the ball to Tariq Skubal in this game. He's 16-4 on the year with a 2.51 ERA. The dude has pretty clearly been the best pitcher in the majors. His last start was against the Red Sox. He went 8 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run. He's been absolutely dominant. We also see the Tigers are 5-0 over his last 5 starts. The dude has just been absolutely lights out this season. There's no way around it. He's been the best pitcher in the major leagues. His last start against Oakland was back in April, and he didn't have a great time, but yeah, I'm expecting very, very dominant stuff from Skubal in this one. No doubt about that. In terms of their bullpen, which might not get a lot of work in this game, Detroit's been very, very good down the stretch. A 3.76 bullpen ERA is excellent, and the offense, that's the real question mark for this team. They've scored 4, 5, 0, 4, and 2 runs over their last few games. Not a lot of great hitters out there for them. 28th in the majors in on-base percentage, 26th in the majors in batting average, but it does kind of feel like they turn out here for Skubal when he's on the mound. We'll see what they can do here against the A's, who come into this game. They just lost 2 in a row, but they went 2-2 in that series against the Seattle Mariners. They're 61-80 on the year, handing the ball to Mitch Spence, who is 7-9 this season with a 4.50 ERA. His last couple of starts have been excellent, dominated the Rangers and the Reds. He hasn't faced the Tigers yet this season, so we'll see how he can do out there. We'll also see what we get out of that Oakland bullpen that's been struggling a little bit here down the stretch. They're below top 10, but still a 3.89 bullpen ERA is not a disaster. The offense hasn't been great, guys. They've scored 4, 3, 3, and 5 runs over their last few games. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored and 25th in the majors in batting average, batting only .234 as a team. Probably not looking forward to going up against Skubal. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Tigers at minus 168, the A's at plus 150. We've got an over-under of 7 in this game. The Tigers are 36 and 36 on the road. Oakland is 35 and 37 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under with a number of only 7 out there. That's just too low for me. I'm not getting on board with that one. That being said, if you are committed to taking over-under on this one, I do think the under is the play. But generally, guys, I think the side is the play in this one. I would take the Tigers at minus 168 there with Skubal on the mound. They're not a good enough offensive team for me to take a minus 1.5, but I think with Skubal out there, they're going to win this game the vast majority of the time. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Giants got the 3-2 win against Arizona in Game 3 of that series that snapped a 5-game losing streak for them. At 69 and 72 on the year, not having a great time. We don't have a confirmed starter for them in this game. If this ends up being a bullpen start for the Giants, it's not a great look for them. A 4.05 ERA coming out of the pen doesn't really fill me with a lot of optimism there. So, yeah, a bit worried about the Giants in this one. Their bats haven't been great. They haven't been terrible recently. I mean, 3, 4, 7, 5, and 3 runs over their last few is not bad for a team that's 20th in the majors in batting average and a 16th in the majors in runs scored. So, we'll see what they can do here against the Padres, who come into this game fresh off a 4-3 loss to Detroit. The Padres are 80 and 62 on the year. They're handing the ball to Michael King in this game, who's 11 and 8 this season with a 3.17 ERA. His last start was against the Cardinals. He did not have a good time. 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, only 2 earned runs. So he kind of was able to pitch himself out of trouble, but it was definitely something of a debacle for him. And I would say his last 2 starts have been a bit problematic. So we'll see if he can bounce back here a little bit against a team like the Giants. It definitely seems doable to me. His starts against the Giants early in the season were very good, so I think there's some positive trends to look at for him. In terms of their bullpen, the Padres have been much better down the stretch. Maybe not elite, but a 3.82 bullpen ERA, definitely not bad. And the offense, it's been okay down the stretch. It hasn't been as elite as it would have been projected to be early in the season. They scored 3, 6, 3, 4, and 4 runs over their last few games. They're 7th in the majors in runs scored. They're still the top batting average team in the majors, though, so always a team that could have some sort of outburst. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Giants at plus 180, the Padres at minus 200. We've got an over-under of 8 in this one. The Giants are 29 and 39 on the road, so a pretty bad road team. San Diego is 39 and 32 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the over, and they are significant trends, guys. The Giants are 38, 26, and 4 to the over on the road. The Padres are 42, 28, and 1 to the over at home. Guys, give me over 8 in this one. I know we don't have a confirmed starter yet for the Giants. I don't think it's going to be anybody amazing. Give me the over in this one. I think we'll see plenty of runs from both sides here. I think we're going to get to this over number pretty comfortably. For our last baseball game of the day, we've got the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. The Guardians come into this game fresh off of a loss there at Kansas City, but they won 2 out of 3 in that series, and they've still got a 4-game lead in the AL Central. They're going to be giving the ball to Matthew Boyd in this game. He is 1-1 this year with a 2.38 ERA. He's going to be making his 5th start of the season, and guys, all of his first 4 starts have been very, very reasonable. His last time out was against the Pirates. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run, and he struck out 8 while walking 0 in a game we saw Cleveland lose 3-0. So absolutely not his fault there. He was lights out in that game. In terms of their bullpen, Cleveland's been the best bullpen in Major League Baseball this season, so not too worried about that. An elite bullpen. Their pitching staff is in a great spot in this game, even taking on a team like the Dodgers. The question for this squad, generally speaking, is where is the offense going to come from? They've scored 1, 7, 4, 6, and 0 over their last few games. We see Quan continuing to struggle, but 13th in the majors in runs scored this year, 22nd in the majors in batting average. This isn't an elite offense, but they usually find a way to put up some runs. So looking at their opponent in this game, the Dodgers, they come into this game fresh off of splitting a little 2-game series there against the Angels. They're 84 and 56 on the year, 5 games up in the NL West. They're giving the ball to Landon Knack in this game, who's 2-2 on the season with a 3.00 ERA. His last couple of starts have been very good. Obviously, he missed some time there between those starts. His last start was against the Brewers. 4 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run allowed. He struck out 2 and walked 0 in a game the Dodgers eventually won 7-2. So expecting decent stuff from him, but not for him to go deep into the game. That being said, I don't think it's a huge problem because the Dodgers bullpen is top 5 in the majors with a 3.62 ERA. In terms of their offense, they've been cruising. Obviously, their last game scoring only 1 run is something of an aberration. They've scored 1, 6, 11, 3, 8, and 10 runs over their last few games. This is one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. Now that they're healthy, things are absolutely back on track. 4th in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in the majors in on-base percentage. This is an elite offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Guardians at plus 133, the Dodgers at minus 150. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. Cleveland 37 and 35 on the road, so not terrible, but not great. The Dodgers are 45 and 23 at home, a pretty dominant home team. In terms of the over-under here, Cleveland's actually an under team on the road, a significant one, and the Dodgers are a significant over team at home, going 39, 27, and 2 to the over at home. I don't know, guys. If you're forcing me to bet an over-under on this game, I would take under 9 just because of the Dodgers' good bullpen and the Cleveland great pitching staff in general. In terms of a side, since I'm leaning slightly towards that under, and since I think this could be a close, relatively low-scoring game, I think we take the Guardians plus 133. I don't think this is going in the pinned comment, but I do think there's some value on this pick. Now, guys, switching gears here, we're going to be looking at the one NFL game that is on this Friday. A very rare thing to have an NFL game on Friday, guys. We've got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. A lot of craziness surrounding this game, a lot of weird controversy about whether or not the teams can wear green because of some weird soccer rivalry that's going on down there. Lots of players saying they're not going to be leaving their hotel room because of lots of, just concerns with the safety of the area they're in. This whole thing sounds like a debacle, kind of like a money grab from the NFL. Don't really love that they're doing this, if I'm being perfectly honest. All that being said, I don't think we're going to see a huge effect of this, situation on the players. Like, I think it's going to affect both teams equally. So looking at the Packers coming into this year, they went 2-1 in the preseason. They found a lot of success at the end of last year, obviously, and expectations are super high for this team coming into the season. Jordan Love is clearly a monster. It looks like the Packers hit it out of the park once again with another great quarterback situation. They added Josh Jacobs out there, so the running game should be even better. And defensively, there were some question marks, but I'm expecting them to be pretty good on that side of the ball this year. Good defensive line, a pretty good secondary as well. So yeah, I'm expecting the Packers to be a very good team this season. Absolutely no doubt about it there. How do I think they're going to start off the year? Well, we're going to see here, guys. It's definitely a weird situation, and I wouldn't categorize the Packers as a veteran squad. Like, this is not an old team. They're not used to weird situations like this, although what NFL team really is used to a situation like this one? It's a pretty unique deal, so we'll see how they can adjust and see how they can cope with all the interesting things going on surrounding this game. They're going to be taking on a tough opponent here in the Eagles. They went 2-1 in the preseason. They're coming off of a disappointing, injury-laden, kind of controversy-laden campaign last season. Expectations were super high for him last year, but they couldn't really live up to him. Jalen Hurts is expected to get better and better here as he continues to develop, especially in the passing game. The addition of Saquon Barkley, obviously a huge deal for this offense that should make the running game much easier and hopefully take a lot of pressure off of Jalen Hurts there. Yeah, I mean, the running game was already good. Now they should be even better. Defensively, the Eagles have been a great team. They were really good last year. They dealt with a ton of injuries as a team last year, though, so expecting them to be taking a little bit of a step forward on defense this season. They do have a new coordinator and basically a completely new linebacker core, so that's a lot of change. I do think this defense will be good. They might not be great this year, but I think they'll be all right. Guys, in this game, I do think it's kind of a weird, sketchy situation given everything surrounding it. I'm leaning towards the Packers and the points in this spot. Unfortunately, at the time of recording, it's all the way down to the Packers plus like 2.5 or 2 out there, so that's not as good. I would like to see it at 3. That would make me a lot more confident in this spot. I'm not thinking of this game as being, that weird in terms of the neutral site situation, except, like both teams are going to be affected here. Underdogs have actually won 4 of the last 5 Green Bay Week 1 games, and underdogs are 5-0 against the spread in each of the last 5 Eagles games, but that's obviously talking about last year, so, things are a lot different now. So my pick in this one is going to be the Packers at that plus 2.5. In terms of the over-under at 49.5, I want to lean towards the under, as I think both teams are going to try really hard to run the ball here, but that's not a huge lean, and to be honest, neither one of these is a huge lean. This is just feeling like a super sketchy game to me. I will only be wagering on this one for fun. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.